Hello everyone, my name is Marisa and I'm going to show you how to make my new Halo Darling bracelet. It is a 2-needle project. It's pretty easy and you get to play with the new Halo beads. So go ahead and get your materials together and we will get started. Okay, so I have little piles of my ZoliDuos, both right and left. My cabs, and again they're 6mm cabs. My 2-hole halos, 8-ohs, and 11-ohs. And I'm not going to start with a clasp. I'm going to go ahead and start with, well, in the bracelet. So pick up on whatever needle, and again you're using 2 needles, an 8-oh, pick up on each needle an 11-oh, and then pick up on each needle, like this, a ZoliDuo, and we're going to go in through the holes here on the slimmer side, just like this, just like that. Letting those drop. Now we're going to go through our, and see, you might have to find your own way of how to sew through these, but what I just do is I kind of just look at it like that, and I saw that my holes were kind of aligned to the holes on my halo. So, and then once you stick one needle in through one side, going through the halo, the cab, and out the other halo, it's easier to get the other needle in through the other one. Whoops. So this is how you want to go in through the halo with the cab in it. So, and I'm just going to hold on to this and pull. I'm going to hang on to both my needles. I'm going to hang on to my halo beads here, and I'm just going to pull because I want everything centered, because this is the beginning of our project, so you just want to make sure you have equal amounts of threads on both of your needles. So now coming out of my halo, this is what you should have. We are going to do, we're going to go through 2 more ZoliDuos through the thinner part, like this, just like this, kind of, that's how you're going to come out. And of course, before you start, since you're using beads with like your ZoliDuos, that you're using your ZoliDuos have 2 holes, you just want to make sure that none of the holes or the other holes that you're not going to use in this step, you just want to make sure they're not clogged. Okay, so coming out of your ZoliDuos, and this is what I have, on each needle goes an 11-oh, pick up an 8-oh on one needle, and cross through it. Okay, and this is what you should have. This is our very first unit. Now, after you're coming out of your 8-oh here, pick up an 11-oh on each needle, and then we're going to make our little component again. Set up my little ZoliDuos like this, because you want to go in like this, and you're going in like that right before you do your halo bead with your cab. So on one needle, and I see that my holes were kind of aligned, going in like this, and then on the other side like that. Pull, and then coming out of my little unit there, and see this little unit here, you don't want it to be all like funky. You want your little 8-oh bead to kind of sit like that. Okay, so coming out of the halo, we're going in through our ZoliDuos again, like this, with my needle on my left hand going like that, in through my ZoliDuo through the thinner side, my needle on my right hand going through the ZoliDuo like this, going in through the thinner side, and letting them drop. So this is a very, very, very easy first step. And if you get confused of how your ZoliDuos go on, just look at the unit before it. So coming out of my ZoliDuos, on goes a 11-0 on each needle. And then pick up an 8-0 and cross through it. After you cross through your 8-0, pick up an 11-0 again on each needle, and then you're ready to do your next unit. So keep doing this for the length that you need. I did 9 units for this one. For this one, I'm going to do 8 because that one fit me kind of big. It didn't fit me as well as I liked it to. So this one is... This one is about 7 inches. So it's a little bit too big for me. So I have 9 units here. I'm going to do 8 units on this one. And I'll meet you back. So I did all 8 of my little units. And then I ended here after my ZoliDuos with the little unit with the 11-0s, with the 8-0, and then ending with 2 11-0s. Once I do that, I'm going to get my wire guard. Stick one needle in on one side, and then I'm going to put part of my toggle on the other side. And then when I go through my toggle in here, and then I'm going to go down the other little opening here, and I'm going to pull. Okay, so that's what I got, and I'm going to try not to tangle my thread. All right. So now with my other needle, I'm going to do the same. I already have my 11 on the other needle. I'm going to go up my wire guard, and I'm going to pull that in. Then I'm going to go through my toggle here, and then just make sure when you do that, when you pass your needle through there and your thread goes through there, just make sure that the thread stays in that little thing there, in that little space there for your thread on your wire guard. And when you're working with wire guards, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, go through the other opening there, down. Make sure everything is nice and neat, and pull. And if you want, you can even close your wire guard a bit. So now I'm going to go down my 11-0 here. And then with my other needle, I'm going to do the same. It's kind of wonky, but right now that I pull and tighten it, it'll look nice. And then I'm going to go through this 11-0 here on this side. And then I'm going to hold on to this, and I'm going to pull my threads. And then I'm going to cross through this 8-0 again. And once I do that and I pull tight with both of my needles, it's going to fix it. It's going to fix all of this. Right now it looks really, really loose, but it's all right. This will fix it. And pull. And something is loose over here. I don't know why. There we go. There we go. Got my wire guard and got part of my toggle. So now we're going to do our second step. Now I'm coming out of the 8/0 here on my end. I'm going to take my needle on my left hand and I'm going to go down this 11/0, down my ZoliDuo, my halo, my cab, and then out of my ZoliDuo here. Do not go through the 11/0 after the Zoli. I'm going to do the same on this side. Coming out of my 8/0, I'm going to go down my 11/0 here, down my ZoliDuo, in my halo, in my cab, and out of my ZoliDuo. And this is going to get me ready to do my second step. So for this, we are going to be using our 8/0s again, and now our 15/0s. And let me make a little pile here of my 15/0s. So on this step, go ahead and do, so you should be coming out of your ZoliDuo here in the inner hole, in the thinner part of the ZoliDuo. Pick up 3 15/0s, 3 15/0s, go through this hole, this other hole of your ZoliDuo, the one we haven't used yet, the one on the wider side, and then once you go through it, you're going to pick up an 8/0, and I believe I'm going to use another color. You don't have to do this, you can use the same color that you were using, but I love seed beads, so I like to use a bunch of colors when I can. And I like it. So coming out of my ZoliDuo here, I'm going to pick up 3 more 15/0s. And then I'm going to go through the other hole of my ZoliDuo, through the halo, through the cab, through the Zoli, and then if you catch the 11/0 this time around after you add your 8/0 here, that's fine, because you have to go through it anyway. And then now we're going to go through our 8/0, and then through our 11/0 here, and then down everything again, so we can do it, so we can do all that step again, meaning down our 11/0, our ZoliDuo, our halo, our cab, out of our ZoliDuo. I'm just going to wait there. And then on this side, I'm coming out of my ZoliDuo here. And I need to move these closer to me. Then I'm going to pick up 3 15/0s. I'm going to go through my ZoliDuo. Then I'm going to pick up an 8/0. I'm going to go through my ZoliDuo here. And then I'm going to pick up 3 more 15/0s. And then I'm going down my ZoliDuo, down my halo, into my cab, out of my halo, out my ZoliDuo, and if I catch that 11/0, that is fine. And I am not catching. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. Needed a little push. I would just put lotion on my hands, so that kind of hinders me a little bit. Now I'm going to go through this 11/0 here. And then through the 8/0. So we're crossing through the 8/0s again. And then up the 11/0 here, through the ZoliDuo, through everything again, coming out of our ZoliDuo, and then we're going to add our 15/0s again, as well as our 8/0s here on the side. So continue doing this all the way down your bracelet, and then go ahead, once you do that, go ahead and add the other part of your clasp or toggle or button, whatever it is that you're going to use, and I will meet you back. Okay, so I finished adding my my 15-0s and my 8-0s, and I added the other part of my toggle, and I needed to add thread, and you will have to add thread on this project unless you want to work with like 12 to 15 feet of thread, and I don't think you want to do that. So I just tied a knot after my toggle. I reinforced it and everything, and then I tied a knot, and you can see my threads kind of right here. So then I added more thread, and what I did, I added more thread. I threaded my needles, and then you need to be coming out of your ZoliDuos like this, out of the inner hole here, but coming out, right? And the way I did that is, well, I had to add thread, right? So I went through this 8-0 here, and then with both my needles, the left one on the left side, the right one on the right side, left one on the left side. From coming out of this 8-0, I brought this needle up this 11-0 through the ZoliDuo, through the halo, through the cab, out the halo, and out of the ZoliDuo like this. And on this side, I did the same. I was coming out of this 8-0, and I just went up towards my clasp. So I'm coming out. Now I'm going to go through the 15-0s that are right there on both sides. I'm going to do it on both sides, same thing. And then once I do that, I will be ready to add my crystals. Now if you don't have crystals, I'm pretty sure you can do 8-0s here on this step, or a combination of maybe a couple of 15-0s or couple of 11-0s. Well, I don't know if I would do a couple of 11-0s. I'd probably try to do an 8-0 here. If you don't have crystals, maybe an 8-0, maybe even some of those little drops might work. Okay, so I'm coming out of the 3 15-0s. Now I went through my ZoliDuo and the 8-0 there, and now out the ZoliDuo, and go through your first 15-0 there. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Out of my 15-0s, down my ZoliDuo, into the 8-0, out my ZoliDuo, and I didn't catch that 15-0, so I'll just catch it right now. And now here is where I'm going to add my crystal. And my little crystal, my 1.5 by I believe 2, and then go through that first 15-0, and then through the ZoliDuo, and then through the 8-0, through the ZoliDuo, and out of the first 15-0 on this side. I'm going to do the same thing over here, coming out of the first 15-0 after my ZoliDuo. See, here, whoop, here. I'm going to go through this first 15-0, through the ZoliDuo, through the 8-0, out the ZoliDuo, and then I will go through this first 15-0 here. So I'm coming out of the first 15-0 after the ZoliDuo, and then here is where I'm going to add my little crystal, and then go through the first 15-0, through the ZoliDuo, through the 8-0, and out the ZoliDuo. And if you can catch the first 15-0, go ahead, and if you can't, then just do it after you get out of your ZoliDuo. And don't get too ahead on one side. In fact, I would do both sides at once the way I'm doing it now, because you don't want your bracelet to curve all weird. And so there we go. Now I'm coming out of this 15-0 here, see, on both sides, putting in our crystals, and then going through this 15-0, through the ZoliDuo, through the 8-0, and out of the ZoliDuo and the first 15-0. So this is a very, very simple last step. Very simple. So, and it's a fun step too when you're doing your embellishing, and especially when you're using crystals. It's just so much fun. I think so, in my opinion anyway. So, and don't pull too hard on one side, because then again, just pull enough, just pull hard enough, just to get your crystal in there, you know, because you don't want it to curve. So keep doing that, and then I will show you my final piece. So I finished adding my crystals, and then all I did was the way I started this step, how I started in this 8/0 because I needed to add thread. If you don't need to add thread and you're coming out here, just go sew down on both sides and then cross through the 8/0 and then come back up. So I forgot to tell you that on the step earlier. But anyway, I added all my crystals, and what I did is, you don't want to meet your threads and tie a knot because then it'll make your bracelet lay weird. So you want to do half hitch knots. And I did a couple in here in between my ZoliDuo and my halo. I just stuck my needle in through here, through these openings, and then I brought it out through here, and then I made a loop, and then I tightened it. So, but anywhere you can make half hitch knots, you know, go ahead and do that. It's better if you do half hitch knots than meeting your threads, because it's going to make your bracelet curve. So this is what we got. This is our Halo Darling bracelet. So let's try it on. I'm very excited about this one because it looks this one will fit me. Yes, it fits me. And I'm having trouble with my toggle here. And this one looks a little bit more casual than the other one that I made. So this is how it looks. And it's very, very darling. So I just love it, and I hope you do too. Thank you very much for watching.